I said tempted.
What? Dennis Norden again?
No, just say hello, hello, hello all the time. I'm so tempted.
He
Honestly.
can hear us as well. This is
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you're not the only one that can hear you. I didn't mute you out. I muted you out when you said I'm going to pull a trick on you, but I didn't mute you out after that. All
One
right.
day.
Time to go live. Hello and welcome along to episode 12 of the Turn 1 podcast. How the devil are you? I'm John, also known as Tracker 57, and we're here to talk about everything relating to a brilliant German Grand Prix, what we're talking about later on with Superstition, and also the build up to Hungary. And joining me this week will be our regular guests of Will and Henry. Say hello.
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 And joining us, replacing Lard for 1 week, is our stand-in, Emma, also known as Mook.
Hello.
How are you? You okay?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Welcome along to the Turn 1 podcast. So, as I said, we're going to just jump into the game. So, for anyone watching this for the first time, what we do is we play F1 2019 for the first half, whilst we talk about everything that happened in Germany. And in the second half, we go on to the news, talk about us theme subject, and talk about Hungary, the subject coming up. So we're just going to switch to the game camera, which is what this sound is. Like that. Here, let's make another sound like that. And we're about to start. So, yeah. Gentlemen and ladies, Germany, what a race.
Meh, I didn't like it.
As always, Will always starts with a dampener.
I was waiting.
It is normal. It is normal. We expect that now. It was a great race, though. He's a Mercedes fan. He's sulking.
Yeah, that is why I have a problem with that Grand Prix, to be fair.
Okay.
Do you remember brought up, I don't know, a few podcasts ago about if we lost too many cars, the races would be boring?
Yeah.
I sort of felt like that happened in the end. We lost just too many cars. Because we've got, was it 12 that were actually racing, and then like the Williams at the back?
Yeah. But you got to admit, though, the rain just added something to it.
Oh god, yeah, I'm not saying it was a boring race. I'm just saying it took out some of the excitement, I guess. Because, like, Perez being one of the best even wet drivers was out. Ricciardo was out very early on. Which two people who, in the rain, are really worth watching, I guess. Anything?
Well, I'm going to disagree. I enjoyed it big time. I thought it was great because of the unpredictability. And don't ever get into a lift with Ricciardo. That's all I'll say about that.
I seen that. I did see that.
How many drivers were in that lift?
There was 6, I believe. Or 5. It was
No,
5.
more than that, I think.
Was it
There
more?
was more, I think.
Yeah,
Was
I
it
think
like
was
half
about
the
8 or
grid?
9 of them.
8 or
Yeah.
9.
It was bad luck, really.
Got this balance wrong.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, no.
Next
It's okay. It's okay. I can rectify the balance. All I need to do is just tweak the front wing when I get to the grid. That's easy enough. But what do you got? Henry, Emma, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it was a good race. I mean, obviously there was a lot of retirements, but yeah, I think it was a good race.
I kind of agree with Will in regards to too many cars dropped out
Right.
because it took that edge off of, is your team going to do well? Is your driver going to do well? Because that's pretty much half the grid that's gone. And the usual offenders were near the back of the grid. But at the same time, I was at the edge of my seat because you did not know what was going to happen.
I think that's what made it good. I mean, who would have thought Kvyat would get a podium?
I did.
Your predictions said Hamilton,
Yeah, I didn't know.
Bottas, and
I
Verstappen.
didn't predict him. I knew he'd get. I knew he could get a podium if it was if the conditions suit him. He'd get a podium, and he duly delivered.
I've just realised the telly's still
The
turned
one
up.
person you kind of feel sorry for was probably Stroll, maybe even Hulkenberg.
I think it was Hulkenberg that really hit me.
Mm.
Deserved the podium all these years. That was his opportunity, I think. And you could see afterwards, and in the Hungary setups on Thursday.
Yes, yeah, well,
And
He was very deflated.
it was horrible to see, really.
Yeah, I agree.
someone did a interview with him on Thursday, and like you say, he was still down, wasn't he? He was still deflated.
I think it actually hurt me more than Bottas going out, seeing Hulkenberg go. You know what a Mercedes fan I am, but the dejection on his face, it was like, you felt bad for all racing drivers, really.
Yeah.
You got Ricciardo apparently like pacing up and down the pit lane because he was out so early, going, I want to be in this race. You can imagine that would have been Ricciardo's happiest place. Unchangeable conditions.
Mm.
He'd have been right at home, like you
Yeah.
say, it would have been perfect for him.
And we just lost that, you know, and Perez always does a good performance in the rain. Usually the one that gets the podium, to be fair.
Yeah, it's true.
And yet it was Stroll that was so close to getting the podium.
I know.
And he would have deserved it.
Yeah,
That was such a good race.
he was the first one to call it on the tyres as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Get the right tyre strategy
Russell
done.
wanted to follow him in, didn't he? And Williams was like, no, don't do that. You know, Russell could have ended up with 5th or 6th place,
Yeah,
was the prediction. Such a shame. And I think one of the commentators said, Williams, you know, should have gone for that risk. What have they got to lose?
Yeah.
And
true.
just bother.
Okay, not a great start. Let's get back on track.
I think that race was probably the only time I actually felt like Stroll was actually being a racing driver.
Mm. But that's the thing, isn't it? There's no justice because he already has a podium, isn't it? Canada. He is.
Yeah.
yeah.
You've got Hulkenberg there, and just know it really just hits home how unfair F1 can be.
Yeah.
Away from Kvyat, because Kvyat did a great job, and Vettel's drive from the back again.
Yeah.
Glory, and well deserved. But it's just those drivers. That was the race you expected to see 3 lower teams on the grid or on the podium,
Yeah.
and in the end, the top 3 teams sort of still dominated
That brings you up a place.
the podium still. Bit of a shame.
It was. I mean,
I think if it had been like Kvyat, Stroll, and Hulkenberg as a top 3, nobody here would disagree with that in any particular order.
No.
Even Max. I mean, Max's drive was phenomenal after
Yeah.
another, you know, but it was still a Red Bull and a Ferrari on the podium,
Yeah.
which
Right,
were
can-
probably the only 2 cars that were left running.
but can I say, out of the Red Bulls and the Ferraris, what a recovery drive from Vettel.
The battery is low.
He said, didn't he, in his interview after the race, he made up so many places on lap 1, and then he was like, if I'm going to win this race, I need to make up more. I went, actually, I just need to stay calm and watch conditions.
Yeah, he just needs to pick people off one by one.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything, did he, until the last 9 laps,
No.
really. And everybody was like, oh, he's the driver of the day. And I'm like, well, you would have had to go at Hamilton for doing that, or for Gasly for doing that. Because,
Kvyat was my driver of the day.
yeah,
Entering lap 3 now. DRS has been
He showed real maturity in that drive.
Yeah, he did.
I think Carlos Sainz was close as well, after having that spin, 3-point turn and coming 4th or 5th, I want to say.
5th place, yeah. 5th place behind Stroll.
And again, Norris with a mechanical failure.
Yeah, I know. I felt gutted for him. Obviously,
Oh.
not.
McLaren will fall apart if they keep having mechanical failures. Because didn't Norris get out last race because of a mechanical failure? Gear sync, was it? Or was that this race? I forget.
Yeah, it's German, I think.
Yeah, one was gear sync. And then there was the race before, and I think he had another failure. think. He's had more failures anyway than some mistakes into a wall, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is a shame for McLaren.
Yeah, it is.
Because, I mean, they weren't far away from Red Bull.
No, they are doing exceptionally well compared to anyone's standards about where they are the best of the rest at this precise moment.
Even in qualifying, it's not like the genius race strategy qualifying. They're doing so well.
Yeah, it's no longer a fluke. This is continuous. This is they've done something right, and what they've done is incredible. But going back to the top three, Verstappen, Vettel, Kvyat, how happy was that podium? How good was that podium to see three people who actually were proper happy to be up there? No, it wasn't like expected to be up there. It was proper joy.
It's not like, oh, it was another podium. It was like these people have fought for those positions and they're celebrating, and rightly so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say even Vettel was like...
wasn't it?
Go on, sorry.
It was just the race to sit through because it wasn't nearly timed out as well. 2 hours.
Yeah, it was near 2 hours, yeah.
With the safety cars. Which just we should have started with, because that was the first in F1, wasn't it? F1 history being made in the safety car for a few laps and then starting the standing start.
Yes, it was, because they brought that regulation in was it about a season ago? They brought it in a couple of seasons ago, but it was this year that it was going to enforce it.
And it seemed to work well, really. Some of the drivers wanted it a bit earlier than the FIA said, but, you know, it seemed to work.
Increase the ERS deployment.
Definitely a good choice, rather than just under the safety car.
Oh, absolutely. I prefer the standing starts. Safety car starts are just a bit, well, boring. And I think that's why they brought us the standing starts back in. It's like, yeah, the track's dry enough. Get back on your grid markers. Off you go.
Yeah.
What's going on in the chat, Henry? Quick update from there.
Okay, Malcolm Patterson says, I enjoyed the German race. Good to see Williams get their first point. I'm going to put a star against that. Via a podium. Same for me, Mook. That was the best I've seen Stroll race. I mentioned last week that Kvyat wasn't making many gaffes this season, then he goes and gets a podium.
You did, yeah. I was listening back to that podcast today, actually. I tend to listen to the podcast back for sound check problems, see if I've had any sound issues. And I remember listening to that remark. I was thinking, yeah, I've got to mention that today. But that was a good call, that. And with Gasly being, well, silly again. His drive is on the line. Regardless, I spoke to Henry about this. I forgot to mention this in last week's podcast.
I don't think he was being silly. I think he went to make the move. And just as he went to make the move, Albon moved across.
Yeah, a lot of people blaming Albon for that, which...
It's not anybody's fault.
Yeah, because, like, you know, sister team, you should let it through, but I don't see why.
No, I would say do either. They're fighting for position.
Yeah, Albon had a really good race again. I think if Russell had double stacked, you would have seen Albon on that podium as well. They just weren't as brave as, like, a Red Bull or a Mercedes team, you know? I mean, talking about pit stops, a lot of people are giving Mercedes some grief. I've got to say, since they didn't know Hamilton was coming in ready for Bottas, I think they did well, really.
Well, they didn't have time to prepare for him, did they? Because of where he crashed. It was just like, get everything ready.
I think it was...
They hadn't got the proper jack on it, because it was 1-for-1 with the nose.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
But I think the gaff was the confusion in the tyres, wasn't it? It was the fact they got the slicks out instead of inters.
Well, two people got slicks out, didn't they? Because the left-hand side was slicks and the other side was inters.
Inters, yeah.
I think they all brought out slicks and then realised what they got and then switched them, unless that was like a communication error and they turned around and we need to get the inters on.
Well, according to the chat, when Hamilton was coming in, his engineer went, okay, inters. So it was mentioned a couple of times as he was driving in the pit lane.
Yeah, they did. I did hear the radio to Hamilton, and they said to him, inters, and he said yes.
So inters was confirmed. So it must have just been picked up the wrong ones.
Yeah.
They just weren't
Also-
ready for him to come in.
Yeah.
Okay, batteries looking
Did you see the one bloke that was sort of randomly running about?
Yeah.
He's been explained, actually, he was the chief of the tyres, basically, and he wanted to make sure that, firstly, they were Hamilton's tyres,
Yeah.
and secondly, they were Hunter's. That's why he wasn't carrying anything. That was
Yeah.
his sure they didn't get a penalty if, they put the wrong tyres on or something.
Making sure. Yeah.
Which
Oh,
makes
that's
sense,
right.
really.
Yeah.
There's like 2 seconds to check or another penalty and come in for another pit stop. It's fair enough, really.
Yeah. I mean, gaffes happen. They're not the first team that will have gaffes. I mean, let's face it. Who remembers Red Bull Monaco? Was it 2016
Yep.
Was
with
that
Danny
Ricardo?
Rick? Yeah.
Yeah. That was painful.
Yeah.
Or Haas. Melbourne this year, Melbourne last year.
Oh yeah. With the
Wheels
yeah.
issue thing, yeah.
will be penalised if we exceed it. Keep that in mind as you approach.
Gaffs happen is how you deal with them. And to be fair, I think Mercedes did okay. They could have done better, but they did okay.
Given the circumstances, lastminute.com,
Yeah.
changeable conditions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other team is going to have the same problem in those conditions.
Because also Mercedes are like first in the pit lane, aren't they?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, he's here.
Yeah.
What do you think about the penalty Hamilton got for going the wrong way on the wrong side of the bollard?
Go now.
Rules are rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do
Absolutely.
you
It's
I
not
think
fair,
it's
close.
but it's a rule.
If
You've
it-
got to uphold it.
If anybody else had done it, they would have got the same penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Grosjean on Leclerc, that was also interesting because that wasn't done.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that one, the fine, because what was it? It was €5,000 fine. That's pocket money to them. So there
But
should
no,
have
they-
been a
they-
time
but they-
penalty.
But they didn't actually give Giovinazzi or Alfa Romeo a penalty when they let him out pit lane as the Toro Rosso was going into the pit box.
It's just inconsistency, isn't it, from the
Battery charge is high.
which was our problem with it, really.
Pace.
Yeah.
Because €5,000 is nothing to Ferrari, and I think Coulthard said, why not just do that every race and guarantee a win sometimes?
Well, they've had
Yeah.
a meeting since it happened on Friday or Thursday, where all the team managers met up to discuss what happened with the unsafe release, and all of them unanimously said that they're going back to time penalties. So if anyone does an unsafe release, it's a 5-second time penalty for that car.
I think that's right.
One team will complain about it. I can guarantee you now, one team will complain about
They
it.
can complain about it,
They'll
but then
look
they've got to
at it
go.
now, but
Then
then they'll complain.
they've got to go back to the fact that they've all agreed it. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. They've all unanimously
And
said.
not only that, it's all about safety, isn't it? And money
Yeah.
doesn't guarantee safety when
No.
there's so much money in some teams and not in others. Okay, that money gets put into what was it, the safety? I can't think what it is now, but
F1
it goes
road safety.
No, that's what. Yeah, it
Yeah.
goes towards that, which is beneficial to some extent. But these teams are all high-driven and very motivated individuals that want to do anything to win within the rules. And if they find a loophole, they will go for it.
Yes.
Definitely. Because I think it was Christian Horner I was watching on the Thursday Team Principals interview, which was very interesting. It was on YouTube. He had Grosjean coming at it, basically. Grosjean did a very good job to get stopped in time. That was close.
Yeah.
He right into the back of Leclerc, really.
I
And
think
he was like, I can see a F1 car coming at me.
didn't he say something along the lines of he pretty much pooped his pants?
3.7 seconds.
Yeah. To be fair, in those conditions, Grosjean stopping, hats off to him, because we know how terribly he's in the pit lane.
Yeah.
And in those conditions, I think he did rather well. That could have been very ugly.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if there'd been a crash in the pit lane and all the cars behind were stuck?
Wow. Yeah.
Because there was no way anybody else was getting through if that had happened.
Very good point.
So
They probably would have had to red flag the race, wouldn't they, for the time being, or stop the race. That would have been a situation, cars to the grid.
But they couldn't get to the grid. It was where the accident was. And you'd have, like, I think Hamilton was out at the time. Hamilton could have come back to first place. That would have been a main part of the race. But you can't stop him because he's on the track. It would have been a very strange situation. So it needs looking at.
Yeah.
Because was Monaco and stuff, they're just saying the pit lanes are too small. A lot of tracks.
Yeah. So I'm going to
And
turn
of course-
my phone upside down. My phone is flashing away with WhatsApp going off. Gosh.
Hamilton nearly took out Leclerc as well, didn't he? Did you see that on the replays?
No. Oh, you mean when he went off?
Yeah, when he crashed.
Oh, yeah. He's
Leclerc
only, what, about
standing there.
30 metres away from the car?
Get past, increasing
Yeah.
DRS deployment to overtake mode.
That's, you know, another scary incident.
Yeah, absolutely.
Imagine if he'd have hit Leclerc.
Set the fuel mix to mode.
Again, it wouldn't have been Hamilton's fault because of the. I believe it's been pulled.
Hmm.
What do you guys think about the ice rink?
It's been part of the track for ages. I think it was fine. They need it to be like that for the drag racing. It can't have a camber on it. And considering it's been there for, yeah, it's part of the rules. I've had a read of the technical rules. It's very, very boring. But it's part of it. It has to be flat for the drag racing. No camber because they're pretty much travelling at excess speeds with very little steering. So any camber can send them into a wall. Think about how powerful those cars are. Formula One cars are powerful, but they've got downforce. A lot of downforce.
I think the trouble is circuits have got to make money through other races. Formula One's so costly, so they can't keep adapting a circuit to suit each individual formula to make it safe.
Yeah.
For the, not safe, but safer for certain circumstances. Like take Silverstone for example, it has no government funding, yet they keep having to redo things on the circuit to satisfy the FIA because that brings in a lot of money and custom into Silverstone. But you can't expect circuits to keep taking away every single season to satisfy everything, as long as it conforms between the FIA rules. But yeah, it wasn't great, but their drivers are paid an awful lot of money. They need to take these things into account.
Yeah. What Mook said. Pretty much.
Henry?
Yes, mate, yeah.
Here we are.
It's part of the track, innit? It's part of the track. So, and that bit of the track is off limits. Obviously, it was bad conditions or whatever. So, leave it. That's what I say. Leave it in.
Yeah.
If they're next year and it rains, then they're not to go there, won't they?
This is true. I did see like flying towards the grandstand though, from the incidents there. So maybe the fence needs looking at, perhaps. To, you know, do, but for safety reasons. Because those crashes were quite slow by the time they actually hit the wall. If somebody had just gone off and lost brakes.
To be fair, if we think about some of the crashes, Hulkenberg and Gasly, Hulkenberg and Leclerc, they still had engine power. The gravel traps caught them.
Hulkenberg's was his own fault.
Yeah.
Hulkenberg's was his own fault because he sort of put his foot down. He thought he got it. He was trying to save time to get back on the track, and then he put his brakes on. And as he put his brakes, he was just going straight into the wall.
Just don't want another incident like Mac in GP2. Because that could that corner. Somebody was off like Leclerc and Hamilton had hit his car. Imagine how bad that would have been.
Would have been like Jules Bianchi, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? Because there was just no grip at all for the brakes. Braking was the worst thing because didn't Leclerc catch one by taking his hands off the steering? On that excess bit?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, you guys, it's part of the track, it's got to be there, but for safety, that could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
There are no holes. It was just skid.
Oh, jeez, I have to go wide there.
That's no Lobs in second place.
Sorry?
Go on, lads.
Lard, hang on, what? How can Lard be in second place?
Because in the league, he doesn't drop out.
Oh,
Just get,
that's making me spin. Oh, that's annoying.
just replaced with the AI, so
Oh,
he's in second place.
That's really annoying, that. Oh.
Where did you spin?
Turn 5. The long 180. Going down towards the back end of it before the S. Okay. All right. Fair dues. Let's talk about who's we're going to talk about. Haas again. Let's talk about Haas very, very quickly. Contact again.
They got points.
Isn't that through a
For a
technicality?
They got points.
Didn't they get points through a technicality?
Nah, they got 8th and 9th anyway.
Yeah, they're 8th
Yeah.
and 9th anyway,
Oh,
so...
right. Okay. They might have got points, but they still touched, didn't they? First rule of Formula 1 is don't crash into your teammate.
Well, apparently they've both been talked to, and there's something that's been put in place so it won't happen again.
And apparently they talk to each other on the phone weekly now.
Wasn't that so rehearsed?
Son of a...
In every interview, it was like, we talk to each other on the phone weekly and we get on really.
Yeah, the thing is that those two don't have chemistry, do they?
No. Oh, have you gone off again, Tracker?
Yes, Will, I've gone off again.
Well, I'd like to.
Flag.
I would like to give Chuck a 10 out of 10 for that crash.
That's kind of balletic, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. So I gave him 10 out of 10.
Look at this. Will's coming up. He's blue flagged.
Blue flag!
Yeah, blue flag. Right, I'm going into you, Will.
What was that? You going? Are you?
He cut out for me as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you went silent.
Yeah, well, that's always
Oh, there
perfect
we go.
timing that I cut out in it. I'm.
So, what was we talking about? Haas? Is that where we were?
Your lap time's
Think so.
we want you to
Okay.
repairs.
Which of them two is leaving then? Because you would assume one of them is going.
Grosjean.
Grosjean.
You say that, but Gene Haas likes
Grosjean.
Grosjean.
Who
No,
has
Gene
the
Haas
most
likes
money?
Grosjean.
Who has the most money?
Probably Magnussen, to be
Yeah,
fair.
I'm thinking Magnussen.
They don't need the money though, do they? They don't need the money.
Magnussen's a better driver.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
He's qualifying the bottom today, which we'll go on to. He's
Well,
been-
yeah, it's quite well. They're qualifying all right, but then they both just drop backwards. It's the car, ain't it, more than anything else?
If you cross
Hmm.
off into the track.
I think Magnussen's got potential. I think he's done his chips, as it were.
Well, Magnussen's got more points than Grosjean anyway, hasn't he?
Yeah, and a better track history. He
Yeah.
doesn't in every other race.
But then again, Gene Haas, if he likes a driver, he might stick by that driver.
No.
Money talks at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You've got to win
At
championships.
the end of the day, yeah, Gene Haas might own the team, but it's Gunter Steiner's team to
Grunt's trying to
manage.
say he's going to talk to Gene Haas, isn't he? So, and Gene Haas hires him, so
Grosjean's
he'll have a
out.
say in it.
Grosjean's out.
He wanted to watch your bloody spin track. That's what it was.
Grosjean's out. That's what I think. He's had his day. He's too much of a liability to the team.
He'll finish the season though.
Yeah.
Unlike Gasly could be gone by the start of the post-summer break.
Yep.
A hard question, to be fair.
I don't think they're going to get rid of Gasly because that's what Christian Horner said today, wasn't it, or yesterday? They're going to keep him until the end of the season.
Kvyat.
Wouldn't it make more sense to get Albon or Kvyat in that seat ready for a champion
I
next year?
think it'd be Kvyat. I think he's proven himself that year that he cocked up that first year that he was there. He's come back in. He seems a lot more mature. He's hasn't put a foot wrong this season.
I think they promote him too early, don't they, at Red Bull?
Yeah. Gasly shouldn't have been there this year, but they haven't really got much choice. Kvyat was bumped up too quickly. You could say Max was, really, but he
But he's done alright for himself, hasn't he?
Yeah.
got through it. It was the start of last season, wasn't it? It was terrible. But is that more Max than just, accelerating through the ranks too quickly? It's hard to say,
The thing is, a lot of pressure on the Red Bull junior drivers because of the money that they've put into them. They expect results straight away, don't they?
I bet they're wishing they didn't get rid of Carlos Sainz.
I bet they're not.
I mean, okay, he might not have the raw pace of Verstappen, but he's racecraft.
Yeah.
You know?
He wasn't that far off, was he? In when they were Toro Rosso together, he wasn't that far off Verstappen.
Nah. Another Hulkenberg that doesn't get a top drive, and then we never realise potential.
He could do. It just needs somebody to take if McLaren don't get up there, it just takes her up top to take a punt on him.
Because I know on track Alonso's not been great, but off track he seems to have really helped Carlos.
Yeah.
Right? Say what you like about Alonso, but mentally he used to approach a race the correct way. Focused, gene himself.
Well,
Not the
Alonso.
worst, learn off.
Yeah, Alonso might have his issues, but he did do. He has, like you say, he has helped, and he's helped that team.
He's what Kubica should have been to Williams. An experienced driver who, might not be fast now, knows what's the car.
Well, Williams have said he gives really good feedback, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think with Alonso is the fact that if the car is that bad, as we saw at McLaren, he will just say it in the press. And I think teams don't really, maybe Williams don't want that, if that makes sense. They know it's a bad car, just leave us alone and get on with it.
Russell's been dragging the best out of that car, though. If you think Max is outperforming the Red Bull, Russell is certainly outperforming the Williams.
I think that Red Bull's fixed. Well, not fixed, but they've got to the issue of the tyres, haven't they? And that Red Bull now.
They've certainly
with the latest updates, so they've turned the corner. I just think the only thing holding them back now is probably that Honda engine. Just hasn't got enough power or grunt yet.
All reliability.
Yeah, from the top two, from a Ferrari engine or a Mercedes engine, the top two sort of benchmark engines, just a little bit behind.
I think it'll come next year because they're at the top end of that capability for that engine now, and I reckon they'll use that as a base to work on for next year to make it even better.
So do you think you will see?
Think how far they've come with it this season so far. They've come leaps and bounds, haven't they?
Yeah, I've heard a story about the fact that they've employed someone as well that used to work on the Mercedes engine when it was back with
Yeah.
McLaren and that, wasn't it? He's come on board and he's just made the.
I'd heard that.
He's the one that's helped moulded the engine to what it is now. Give it that outside experience, because Honda were very much, when they started, keep it internal. They didn't want to do it. They want to do it their way. But they have been, since Red Bull, open to someone coming in from the outside to help with that. And yeah, you're right. It's come on leaps and bounds.
It's just having those moments, isn't it? Like, it was powered for half a lap. So far, they've got away with it, but it could just blow up in the face.
They had to do something different, Honda. If they wanted to go back up there, if they were serious about getting near the top, they had to do something differently.
But it was a shame it's taken this many years for them to realise it, though. McLaren has been saying it for years, and they didn't want to budge. And now they've only just realised it. Think how far advanced that engine could have been if they did that a few years ago.
Yeah.
I think if any engine supply comes in, they're going to be sort of a year or two behind anybody else anyway, aren't they?
Yeah, but this wasn't a year or two.
No, but you know what I mean?
It wasn't even finishing races, was it? The Honda?
No, exactly.
And I mean, okay, you say
T2
they're building an engine,
It was more.
but you can't have it not finish any races.
It was more used as a paperweight, wasn't it?
It was
Mind you,
embarrassing.
Red Bull's engine last year for Ricciardo was just awful.
Yeah, towards the end of the season, Red Bull started using the Renault C-Spec engine, which when they did want to use, it was more powerful, but they knew it wasn't reliable.
Can you imagine?
Red Bull were like third, and went, yeah, we'll just use it.
If that happens to Max this year and the Honda engine just starts blowing up,
I'm waiting for the honeymoon period to end, and if things start going wrong, who blames who? Does it go in the press? Because we know that Red Bull like to, if something goes wrong, they like to sort of say it in the press, don't they?
I've heard that Red Bull's sniffing around Petronas for the oils and stuff. You know, because that is a big part of Mercedes' output.
Oh, yeah.
I think I was watching something on Sky Sports, and they can take oil samples, take them to the thing out the back, and
they've got a lab in the back.
car. Yeah,
They can do it.
They've had that for a few years now.
which is brilliant. That's the sort of stuff you need to know. So can you imagine Red Bull with that sort of... Even if it didn't improve the engine performance, just knowing what was wrong with the engine for Honda would help them immensely. So that could be an interesting story over the summer.
I think with something like that, it just speeds up the development process because they're getting real-time data, whereas they won't be able to change certain aspects. They'll be able to advance their knowledge quicker, which will in turn will help them develop the car going forward, like say next year, for example.
I have the feeling we can have a really good season next year
Yeah.
because cars have sort of got to a point now, even with regulation changes, they're good. And then they're going to change regulations, and Mercedes or Ferrari will come out on top, and that'll be the end of the race. It's chopped and changed so much that nobody can get to the plateau, which if Formula One did, you know, at the minute you've got Red Bull, Mercedes, and Ferrari all racing at the top, near enough. As soon as they chop and change the rules, everybody will fall back again. And the race will just stop. Which is a shame, because this happened at the end of like the last era. All the cars were getting close. They chop and change the rules. Red Bull and Ferrari fall back again.
Yeah,
It's just a shame.
I wasn't a fan when they took away the normally aspirated.
I don't think anyone was, to be fair.
Yeah, it was better racing, wasn't it? And they were louder.
To be fair, that since they've changed, they are getting they're definitely nowhere near where we would like them to be, but they are definitely louder. Every year I've been to Silverstone, you can definitely notice the difference. But yeah, I still miss that thumping in the chest.
Ringing ears
Gone
after
to sea.
ringing ears after 2 days still.
Yeah. You get them
Speeds-
off the F2 cars more than you do off the F1. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah. The F2 cars do look impressive, though, to be fair.
Yeah, they are awesome. I absolutely love being at Silverstone a few weeks ago. Yeah, it was fun.
I believe that you're having potentially an interview with Will for the podcast. I believe. Anyone want to pass me a rope? Because I've dug myself a hole and I can't get out of it.
No.
Oh yeah, you're still building that ladder from last week, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm still getting. I'm sure trying to
Well, there goes the secret project out the.
out of the bag.
Okay, well done.
Hey.
Oh, tracker.
Well, wait, come on. The season break is coming up. The end of this episode.
Disappointed in you, man. Disappointed.
Yeah, well, you can be disappointed all you want. I've just broken my wing again.
Well done, mate. We're proud of you.
Major performance impact.
Oh, for chuff's sake. Oh my god, Lars AI overtook me.
Yep. You've been lapped by Lord's AI.
I don't care anymore. I don't care.
You also get full points, Fish, you know that?
I don't care. No, he doesn't get full points.
Who does? He'll get 18 points.
Oh God, don't make it worse for him. Jesus. He's just going to pull over this side of the track and start crying now.
I'll just retire the car.
Yeah.
That'll be fine.
Get a deck chair out.
Get the camera.
Alonso did bring some entertainment to sport, it's got to be said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did, yeah.
Oh, again, Hulkenberg in Germany, just sat in that chair.
I am out now.
Are you alright?
Oh,
What? Don't say anything. 'Cause I'm watching, so I'm
Yeah,
15 seconds behind.
There we go.
what did you do?
Oh my God, Truck, that's awesome.
I went straight into a wall. I couldn't steer, lost my wing, so I ended up going into the wall.
He got into the grass because he lost his wing. He couldn't steer. Went straight into the tire wall. As Michael Patterson says, that crash was your fault, Tracker. You hit the AI driver. Oh, I've had a message from Lard. Yeah, he says new Walker's Crisps, Salt and Tracker.
Lard, you're a git. Get well soon, buddy.
Well played.
Oh well, yeah. Oh well, oh well. You know what? I'm out of the race. I don't mind. It wasn't my race, was it? Let's face it. I was down in 18th at the time, so. Ah well. But I can go through everything else that we've got to go through.
Karloff asked a very good question.
Go on.
I don't know the answer. So maybe one of you three can know the answer. He says, who was it that walked off the track, went into a pool at Monaco a few years ago?
Was that Kimmy?
Yeah, didn't he just go and grab some and then walk into his own boat, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go, Karloff. They know the answer.
There we go. Oh dear.
That's the only person that I can think of that would actually do that as well.
Yeah.
If you look at it logically. But I think it was Kimmy.
Okay, hold on. I'll tell you what. I've got to Google up. Let's see if Google knows the answer. Google. What's the answer?
Let's get on board with Will. Let's watch him drive. There we go. We're watching him drive.
Master at work.
I won't say it. I said off the podcast.
Sorry?
It'll only curse me. I say what I said off the podcast earlier.
Oh. There we go. We'll do that. Come out of that. And we'll stay on board with Will as he's going around the track. So what's going on in the chat, Henry? Because it's been a while since you said about that.
Yeah, I lost a little bit of the chat, but Michael Patterson says, I was about to say, Kimmy, laughing face. If it sounds outrageous, it's got Mr. Happy. The Immortal Cloud says, oh dear, Trucker's in a spinner can, and then he says, no, Trucker, crying face. The Immortal Cloud, this is what you come here for. You want to watch Trucker crash. And Karloff also says, Renault didn't do well. In Germany, I think he's on about. In Germany, they didn't do so well.
Yeah, that'd be for you, wouldn't it?
Won't be for me. I think it's just a general.
Well, Ricardo's engine blew up again.
Yeah, Ricardo's engine, his first engine that he's used 3 or 4 races this season, blew up. He'll take penalties towards the end of the year. That's a guarantee.
Shame though, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've dropped the ball again. The next best, and it looks like McLaren are going to steal that. Boy,
And what made it worse was the new CEO was there.
Yeah.
The new CEO was there. Apparently he knows F1 or likes F1 or he knows his stuff about F1. So obviously if they were talking budgets next year, then at least Cyril can go, this is why I need more money, which doesn't really work when you've got the budget cut coming in the year after.
Yeah.
I tell you, it's 3 Renault drivers that crashed. Were failed to finish. Even on the way to Hungary.
Oh yeah, apparently that driver's fine.
Yeah, but it's not been a good week, has it, for Renault?
No, it really hasn't, has it?
We'll come on to the further delights in the second podcast, I imagine.
Absolutely. So, we talked about we've talked about the main things that have happened in Germany. We've talked about all sorts, really. Hamilton, obviously not his best race in the world, but to be fair, considering he was still fighting illness and some weird spins, yeah. What do you think?
It was just an off day, wasn't it? It was just an off day.
Yeah.
Cover drive.
To be fair,
it was a good recovery drive. You're right there.
didn't we say in the last podcast it was going to be tough after being ill if the weather was going to be muggy and horrendous?
Yeah, we did. We did.
Yeah.
I think the shocker was Bottas, really, not being able to overstrike.
I think the shocker was Bottas losing it going into turn 1.
I can't believe Hamilton did the same mistake and got away with it.
Yeah, Hamilton done it like a few laps earlier, got away with it. Bottas does the same thing and
Bins it.
bins it. And especially as Mercedes are going to be talking about if they're going to keep him during the summer break.
Yeah. Because who've they got lined up to potentially replace?
You would say.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they'd go for George Russell yet. I think they'd give him another couple of years at Williams.
He's in a two-year contract at Williams anyway.
You would say Ocon, because he's already there.
Yeah.
Do you think they're really going for Max?
No, because Hamilton's there. Because Max has got Red Bull as his own team, hasn't he, at the minute?
Oh, safety car's out.
Why would you go from having your own team to go into somebody else's team? In essence, I mean, they could go for Hulkenberg. I'm not saying they are going to go for Hulkenberg, but
no one will go for Hulkenberg.
No.
You think that's it for him now? You think if he doesn't stay at Renault, he's going to go?
Yeah, everyone keeps talking about him, but no one ever touches him. They keep saying, "Oh, he'll go to Ferrari." He'll never go to Ferrari because they're not interested.
He messed
He
up.
won't go to Mercedes. They're not interested because he's too old now. They want someone younger and more feisty. 'Cause if you've got to think about it, Lewis Hamilton, he's in his prime, but he's going to be considering retiring at some point. They're not going to want two older drivers. They're going to want to have a pipeline of talent, aren't they?
Yeah.
I do have a prediction.
Go on.
Lando Norris,
I
in
thought you were going to say that.
in exchange for Mercedes engines at McLaren,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that working as
Yeah.
well.
I could
I
too.
agree.
And then you'll also have Carlos Sainz as a Mercedes should Lando Norris fail. And then Ocon and sort of Russell will just sort of slot in afterwards. So I can see being the, he's the standout rookie this year, I'd say.
Oh god, yeah. Damn.
Without a shadow of doubt. I mean, to be
You've
fair,
got to
George
say,
Russell's done really well.
I was going to say, all the rookies this year have done really well
Yeah.
so far. Normally you have one sort of, or two bad ones, but they all seem to have done really well.
Apart from Kubica.
But he's not a young one, is he?
He's not a rookie.
No.
He drives like one.
But what else was I going to say?
I don't know.
There was something from the last one we talked about how many teams have a 100% record with both cars coming to the finish. Mercedes are now out of that. So Alfa Romeo and Williams are the only two that have a 100% completion rate with their cars, bringing both cars home.
Nice.
Also, Lewis keeps his 22 race scoring record. As it
stands, he does, yeah. As it stands, yeah. Alpha obviously have appealed it.
Is that September, I heard?
Yes.
September, yeah. They've appealed now because they have 15 days after the event to appeal it, and then if they appeal it, then FIA have 15 days to get all their paperwork ready in time. And of course, you've got the summer break coming up, which obviously puts it back to September.
That's a bizarre penalty, though, isn't it?
Well, they hadn't told. From what I've heard, I use the word "heard" very loosely. It wasn't a case of they're trying to tell them how to get off the line. They were managing some sort of issue. It's whether Alpha can show that to a good enough extent that they get the ban overturned. I don't know.
They did it with both of their drivers, didn't they?
Yeah.
So that makes you think there was a reason behind it, because you wouldn't just do that just to get an advantage and I hope you'd get away with it.
So you think it's a proper technical issue that's come about, and they've done it because
that's what they're saying, and that's their defence. Well, they're not saying too much, but that's their defence. Looks like there's going to be that there was a technical fault with the car, or there was an issue with the engine or something, and that's why they're to tell them what to do, or change settings, or whatever they did.
You know who they need to talk to, don't you? For evidence.
Yeah, they get down to our mates down the road in the red.
Who's that?
Ferrari International Assistant.
If they go to Ferrari and ask Ferrari for help, I'm sure they'll get it overturned.
Yeah.
I doubt it. They're not on the best streak of overturning penalties, are they?
I know, actually, no, they don't need to go to Ferrari. They just need to go to Kunchenduk, really.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The evidence.
Just go to Kunchenduk.
Jeez. Can't believe I'm out.
It'd be hard for them to get it overturned unless they've got clear evidence to show that the engine or whatever was in serious trouble. In which case, then they may go off leniency. But I think once it's set in stone, once the ban, once
if they get that over,
once the penalty's been applied, 10 times out of 10, it stays, or 9.5 times out of 10 it stays.
Yeah. So it was a really bizarre one, and like I say, Williams have got their first point through that as well.
Trusted to be Kubica.
I was waiting for that. I was just waiting for it to go, Kubica.
There was an interesting radio. If you went onto the F1 app, there was an interesting radio conversation between Lewis and the team after his final pit stop. saying about what's happening, guys. And it went, okay, we're in P14. And then Lewis just goes, well, I'm last then. So it wasn't broadcast on TV, but that was broadcast on the app.
He turned around and said to the team, let's box the car, let's retire the car, because I can't see us getting any points. And he said, no, Lewis, come on. If you're down at the end, you can get something. If they'd have turned around and said, yeah, let's retire the car, how gutted would he be feeling right now?
Yeah, he would be feeling really gutted, wouldn't he?
I know it's only 2 points, but it's 2 points more than what Bottas got.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thing is, though, could they have saved the engine a bit and done better in some qualities later on? You think?
That's what Hamilton said about retirement. It was 15 laps to go. Could I not just save the engine for 15 laps?
Yeah, because it was in the drivers' team principals press conference as well. 20 races next year, but it's only 3 engine components. And they're like, it's not enough if you want to see racing. You're going to have to give us more components to work with.
Yeah.
You think they'd have at least 4, wouldn't you, of each component?
Well, most teams are using 4, so cut out the penalties and
just give them 4. Just give them 4, and then leave it at that.
I really don't see the issue with it, because it's just ruining good racing again. Because you're putting people at the back. Okay, it's exciting to see Seb go through the pack or whatever, but for those at the back, it's like, why do they bother qualifying? There you go. That's the FIA for you.
So, as Will's approaching the final lap, let's talk about how we'd rank this race. Will, we'll start with you. Out of 10.
Out of 10.
Hello, Will.
Still gives a solid 9.
9.
I was going to give it the same score, to be honest.
You're saying 9.
Yeah, I think it's a 9.
Emma?
I'm going to go for 8.
You're going to go for
8?
Yeah.
Why an 8?
Because a couple of my favourite drivers didn't finish.
Fair dues. I'm going to give it a solid 9. I'm going to give it a solid 9.
I think he was going to give it a 10 then, to be honest, Chucky, the way you waited.
I was debating between 9 and 9.5. There's no such thing as a 10 out of 10 race. There's always something that goes.
I say it was just how many drivers went out that ruined it me a bit.
Yeah, you were saying... Go on.
No, go on, you finish off.
Oh, it was literally a case of, yeah, you were saying that, there we go, weaving across the line.
I'm saying Michael Patterson gave it 8 out of 10. Why only 8, Michael Patterson? What would have given it a 10? He also says, I think Turk had some harsh words for Bottas after that crash.
Oh, yeah, I do too. I think he was in the bad books.
I don't know. Like I say, if they get rid of him, you know, is he going to be Ocon that goes in there? I can't see Beckham going there, but will it be Ocon?
I don't see anybody going there till the new regulations, to be fair.
Yeah, I think they might just stay with Bottas for another year.
Yeah, Hamilton wants the Schumacher record. There's a good chance he'll get it.
So, apparently I'm levelling up. That's always a good thing. Oh.
I just sent you a news report tracker about the Alpha thing, and it goes into details to how the FIA gave him the penalty. And as you're the technical man, you might like that. As you're the technical man, you might like that.
I don't know, it's motorsport.com. I don't register for them, and I've used my free allowance this month. I'm not paying to do that. That's why I use other
no, I often use them, to be honest.
Yeah.
I watch their YouTube stuff because it's free.
Yeah, I think that's what I've got to do. So, after an interesting race, Will won.
What I will.
We're going to take...
Cheers, Will.
we, wait for well done, Will, are going to take a 5-minute break. We'll see you in 5 minutes. We'll come back for part 2 and we'll take it from there. See you in 5. Bye.
The news.
The news.
The news. Not Coronation Street news, but just the news.
You know when I've got the welcome back screen, and that's normally my gap for the podcast for the break. They've just talked right over the top of it, haven't they?
The news.
Let's do that again. We're having an intro. We're having an intro from the intro. Oh, by the way, this is what happened straight after I went off, because I went off. I always go off to get a drink, and this is what we had. Henry, we should totally do something like blank him. Will's working on something from what I understand as well. So
I tell you what, I just seem to have all these jokes, don't I? I just seem to be like a joker, really.
all right, let's do this. Let's do this properly. We'll do this properly. All right, we're gonna redo the intro, and then we're gonna go and do the other bit. Okay. Right, here we go. We're very professional.
Are we? Sorry.
Soul, if you're watching, that's a clip for the blooming outtakes. Right, okay. Let's do this. Let's do this properly. Properly. We're all professional here.
The news.
Oh, fucking hell, hang on. Right. I'm gonna go back to the post break, okay? I need that intro. The news.
The news.
The news.
Over to you, Henry.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. So, obviously, as we said, Cristiano has said that not going to sack Gasly in the summer break. Obviously, they will probably review it at the end of the season. Obviously, will he stay? Will he go? They have a tendency to sack their drivers. So, will they sack him? Will they replace him? What will they do? Who knows? It's Red Bull.
Well, the thing is, listening to Christian Horner say that he's not going to do it is like having a football manager say, "Oh, they have all the faith in their." The football owners having faith in their managers. 3 games in, they're sacked.
Yeah, I think if they were going to sack him, they would have sacked him by now, though.
But
I think part of the plan is that they haven't really got anybody else coming through, have they? Because obviously they sacked Dan Tickham, didn't they, a few weeks ago? And is Albon ready to step up? If they were to put Albon in that car, would Albon do just as well there?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
Let's be honest. That car at the start of the season was a in Max Verstappen's words was a bit of a dog to drive, wasn't it?
Bag of nails.
Bag of nails. And since Austria, when they put the upgrades, he seems to find it better. But then maybe because he is the number 1 driver there, they're going to build the car around him, and he might not suit Gasly's style more.
Who
Does
knows?
everybody, I'm just thinking of ideas out loud, to be honest. So yeah, obviously you said about the lift, Ricardo in the lift, then getting the lift with Ricardo. Vettel, he didn't. Nobody saw this, did they? On the last lap, Vettel went off, or nearly went off, should I say? Yes, he did. Yeah, he went off. Where did he go off? In the stadium section. The corner that caught him out last year, he nearly got caught out again. And so, as he managed to get back onto the track, he was already on the track, but he was right on the little bit with the grass. Kvyat was trying to sneak up the inside, trying to take second place back off him. But you didn't see that on the TV. I saw it afterwards.
This is the weirdest picture I'm ever going to show on here. There we go. That will give you nightmares, won't it?
What's Grosjean doing?
I think he's drawing a
Striking
Zoolander.
pose.
It's Blue
Yeah,
Steel or
something.
Le Tigre, isn't it? Any other news, Henry?
There's a picture of Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo on the flight home from Germany. So obviously they're still good friends. But that's it from me. You've covered everything that I had anyway. Now you're probably going to bring up something else now, aren't you?
Absolutely. Let's see what else I've got on here. What did I bring up? So,
Red Bull set a new penalty, didn't they?
they set a new world record for pit stops. 1.88 seconds. Fastest pit stop recorded. Oh, hello. I've been disconnected. Oh, hello. Am I still live? One sec. What's happened there? Apparently, I'm not on the voice chat. One sec. Can you guys still hear me? Yeah, you can still hear me. You've dropped our tracker, but we're still talking. Right, okay, let me disconnect. Reconnect.
Good evening, Tracker.
There we go, we're back. Yeah, so...
Well, we just carried on because we didn't know if we were live or not. We just carried on.
Oh, well...
Because we're professional. Because we're professional here.
We're still live. The last point I
Yeah.
said was, yes, it was 1.88 seconds, which was the new fastest world record for a pit stop, which is phenomenally fast.
Yep. And Williams are still quite quick as well.
They are.
And obviously, Force India brought a few bits in 3 or 4 races ago to get them sub 3 seconds on their pit stops as well. So,
I think my Discord app's playing up, so I'm going to have to do it via the old-fashioned way of... Well, the new-fashioned way of looking at it on my phone. Oh my gosh, my WhatsApp's on 39 messages. What the hell's been going on in that group? I know which group it
38.
is. Yeah, it'll be Selby FF that's doing it. It's fantasy football night next Thursday. Well, this Thursday. 39 messages now. Discord.
Okay.
Right. What did I put in the news? I dropped a few things in. Yeah.
Go on.
So, I put on here...
Haas not running their drivers from racing when they're 13th or 14th or whatever. Excuse me. Which you've discussed.
Haas on burning drivers. Red Bull set a new pit stop.
Yep.
Do not get stuck in the lift with Ricardo.
Yep.
Max hits out completely wrong. Ferrari.
On that penalty for unsafe relief, I looked up the 2018 unsafe reliefs and all unsafe. I can't even say it now.
Unsafe
and a lot
release.
All of them were penalties. All of them in the race and in practice sessions were fines. All the ones that were listed anyway for 2018 were all fines.
Well,
because you had 2 in Australia, didn't you? Because you had both Hasses retire.
Yeah.
And they were €5,000 fines each. Then obviously in Bahrain you had Kimi unsafe relief because he injure in he injured somebody, didn't he, in the pit on his pit exit.
Yeah.
And then I think Mexico was Perez or Stroll, but they're all fines.
So they're all fines.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. The other thing we didn't really talk about was something straight after Germany, and it was relating to, well, this. A bright yellow Renault team truck off the side of the motorway.
We should say we don't know what happened at this moment in time.
It was a bizarre one, wasn't it?
but they tweeted out to say he's fine and nothing was damaged in the incident itself.
To be fair, those trucks are tightly packed that there's no room for anything to move, is there?
No.
No.
They
At least the drive was okay. We've heard good
Yeah.
news.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It was such a bizarre incident, though. You don't normally hear of something like that happening. I suppose.
We at the minute we don't know what's happened. You know, there could have been a crash in front of him. We obviously we don't know too much, so we're just glad that he's fine, that all the parts are fine.
Yeah.
Renault said he drives to the rules that they've got to drive to. So
Judging by a truck like that, it could have just been a simple case of it was a blowout or something.
yeah,
Just lost a bit of control.
there's a
with the
barrier.
blowout.
The barrier in the middle was dented. So I assume he may have obviously clicked that first or whatever, and then gone across.
Yeah, he could have. It could have been a blowout that happened, and he's just lost control a little bit, and that's what's happened. It's just led him into a skid. The good thing is he's the driver's fine. That's the main thing. The important thing.
Maybe his engine blew up.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, any other news from anyone? Did anyone pick up any nuggets of news you want to talk about? Let's open up the news.
The silence is deafening.
I'm taking.
There's not really been that much news in a week.
No, there
No.
hasn't really. I'm just flicking through the news that I've got on here.
To be fair, with such a short turnaround, there's not really going to be anything really new that's going to happen.
No. Obviously, somebody who follows Hamilton, basically asleep days, trying to get over his cold, so he's not been up to much.
Yeah, I did put that. I
It's
did
been-
put something about that on the Discord group, didn't I? Because I've got two sources that I go to. The two sources that I go to are Sky Sports and Planet F1. They're my two sources that I use, and I read through the articles that were on Sky Sports, and out of the 22 articles that were on Sky Sports, I think I said it was 11 or something like that that was dedicated to Hamilton.
That's
And
because he's such a big star, isn't he?
Yeah,
The fans. That's what the fans want to hear about, I suppose.
Yeah.
And not only that, Sky send their footage, their coverage out to lots of different countries, and he's a global star, so they are going to put the most viewed person on their website, aren't they?
yeah.
Like Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
There we go. Just putting that on there. There we go. Oh dear.
Salt and Tracker.
Salt and Tracker.
Sorry.
Salt and Tracker
Coming
Well,
to
that
us.
was quite good.
has been summoned by the image in Discord. Oh, hello, Soul.
Sorry, you missed the clipping opportunity, but nice to see you.
Salt and Tracker. Have to change that. Apparently, Karlov's got a news link. The only other thing that I picked up on was George Russell saying that he didn't want to be involved in the politics between Williams and Mercedes. That was the only other thing that I could pick up on. Really?
There is no. Well, I said they're not working as closely as they were in the past because of the Bottas thing, but I think they still get on. There's probably still talk, but that's all you really need to do, don't you? I suppose in this day and age.
But if they didn't have a Mercedes engine, where would Williams actually?
Well, who could give them engines? There's only, I suppose, Honda or Renault that would give them engines, I suppose.
I don't see either, really.
And if those two didn't want to, then it'd be even worse off, because I don't see Ferrari giving them engines, do you?
No.
And the other piece of news that I read up on whilst we're talking about this is regarding this guy, Carlos Sainz, and he was saying that the spin that he had in Hockenheim was his own fault because he thought that he could get more traction just going ever so slightly off the track to get around that final complex than actually staying on the racing line. Boy, how wrong was he?
Actually, I'd heard Sky talk about this. They use the karting track instead of the racing track because there's less rubber down.
Yeah.
Drag strip. There's too much rubber on the racing line for grip on the intermediates, and it covers in. So you do have to go off the racing line for any traction.
Yeah.
You just went side. That's why when Hamilton did, was it last year he qualified in the wet here?
Yeah.
He was having a go because he was taking a really different line. That is why, because he was using the karting line to get the traction, which is why he got the pole.
Yeah, you would stay off the normal racing line. You'd go hunting for the grip in the race, in the right weather.
And of course, because he was been so good in karts, same as Max, that's why they qualified so well.
Yeah. So
we should say also that Hamilton was on investigation for going too slowly in Hockenheim.
How stupid are the FIA?
But it turns out that because he was driving around, he wasn't driving slowly because he wanted to drive slowly. He was driving slowly because he was on the wrong tyres. Then he crashed and then lost 50 seconds in the pit lane. Because the safety car was out, his dashboard was still telling him to do Delta times because it thought it was still a virtual safety car. So that's why they said there's no penalty.
That would have been too harsh. If you've crashed, can't really keep up to the Delta.
Yeah.
It's because on the safety car, he can go faster to catch up with the snake, but he's doing what it told him to do because it still told him to stick to the Delta.
And he didn't catch up with the safety car when it was released either, when the racing took back under charge, which was interesting. So I thought they would wait for all the cars to be...
Yeah.
And they didn't.
yeah.
It was a good 5 or 6 seconds away from the back of the pack, so...
Karloff just sent me a link.
Oh, yeah.
It just says, teams to vote on record 22 race F1 calendar for 2020.
Oh. Well, we know it's going to try and be up to 25. Is this because they're looking at extending, there's potential that the Spanish Grand Prix is going to happen next year?
The proposal was put to them at a meeting between team bosses and F1 CEO Chase Carey at Hungary today. This could be yesterday, I don't know. The current F1's regulations set a maximum limit of 21 races. The united support of the teams has therefore needed to increase the limit to 22 for next season. As part of the deal, teams have been told there will be no increase in the maximum number of engines per driver, which obviously we think there should be 4, not 3. The present limit of 3 will remain, meaning drivers will have to use a single energy for up to 8 races to avoid a penalty. Teams have also been offered a reduction in the amount of pre-season testing. Instead of 2 4-day tests, a pair of 3-day tests will be held. The desire to increase the calendar to 22 races has come about following a last-minute move by the Spanish government to keep the countries round at the Catalonia. There are among 19 other races which are known to have contracts for next year. Monza's also indicated it will extend its deal to host the Italian Grand Prix. If either the German or Mexican Grand Prix remain on the calendar along with Spain, next year's calendar will feature 22 rounds.
Thoughts, guys?
I will say what Vettel was asked this, wasn't he? And he said, what did he can't lose tracks like Spain, Monza, Britain, Monaco for new tracks, but he understands why you've got to go to a new place.
I think they could lose Spain because it's a test track. I think they could keep the Spanish Grand Prix but move it to Jerez rather than have it at Barcelona.
I heard that when they were doing the qualifying today, when they're talking about qualifying about that, whether Jerez would come back.
Yeah, but I quite like the Spanish Grand Prix where it is because see how far the team in pre-season testing to some part through the season. In that, I quite like it.
Do you think though that pre-season testing should have a track that isn't related to F1 though? Do you think it should be, that isn't on the F1 calendar? Do you think it should be it should go to someone like Jerez if they keep Barcelona or something like that?
So all the test data is useless, then, is that what you're saying? Because they won't really learn anything from it.
Pretty much, and it keeps the rest of they don't go to the other 19 or 20 circuits, do they? So it's going to be the same thing. They have to learn on that weekend.
It's the fact that Barcelona has so many different parts to it. Like it's got a long straight, it's got the the weavy bits at the third sector.
They could
relate
change
the
To
tracks.
test on.
Yeah,
they could change the test track to the old style track that we used to have. So as a fast last call, a couple of corners, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But what about somewhere
So
like if you moved it to France, not Paul Ricard, Magny-Cours, that has weavy parts, that has long straights.
It's Magny-Cours FIA standard though.
It was.
I like Spain though because it's just over the it's like testing at Silverstone. Since most of the teams are in Britain, Spain makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Weather that time of year.
Yeah.
So I've always been an advocate that the first race of the year and the last race, just to see how far the cars have through a whole season. I think that's really cool.
I
But
think. Go on.
it's a bit boring because obviously it's the same race over and over again. But you get my point. It'd be nice to see like how fast Williams can do the season on the same track.
I don't think we'll get 22 races next year.
No.
I agree.
I
don't think that'll happen.
I think what's made it worse. Well, obviously Hockenheim had the deal in place with obviously Mercedes were going to sponsor it. The HUD sponsored it this year, and the funds in place to sponsor it next year. It's whether they drop Mexico or Monza, and if Monza's got the deal in place, then you would think that Mexico would go.
You can't lose Monza though, can you? It's an iconic track. It's for
Yeah, I can't see them losing Monza.
and I love Mexico. That final sector through the the stadium section.
Yeah.
It's so slow. You can see such a great view of the car and all the action, and it's a great track to race on. I really like Mexico as a race. And again, it's a different part of the country, different part of the world the F1 doesn't go.
Whereas, say, Spain or Hungary, you've got tracks around it.
Having a look at the Grade 1 tracks on here.
Well, Carl just said Magny-Cours should still be a Grade 1
It is.
in the chat.
Circuit de
It
Neva Magny-Cours is still Grade 1. Spain have the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. They've got the Circuit Ricardo Tormo, Circuit de Jerez, Circuit del Motor de Aragon as well. So they've got 4 circuits that are Grade 1 FIA standards.
What about UK?
UK?
Yeah.
UK only have Silverstone.
Oh,
It was supposed to be Donington, but Donington ran out of money, didn't they? They pretty much went bankrupt. So Silverstone's the only Grade 1 circuit out here.
I'd say go to Thruxton. It's just down the road from me.
Yeah, same.
That'll do me.
It's a
That'll do me. That'll do me.
But if we're thinking about weather, why don't they go to the Portugal? Go across the border. The Autodromo Fernando Perez de Silva. See if I can get that circuit up on here. There we go. That circuit, if I'm honest, let me see if I can bring that up on studio mode. Let me get that sorted. This circuit, if I'm honest, looks very similar to the Circuit de Catalunya. There we go. It's up on screen now.
I've got to wait 30 seconds because I've got a delay on my phone.
Wait 30
I've got it now. I've got it.
But have a look at that. That's not too far off the Circuit de Catalunya. And that'll keep the weather quite hot. It's the same climate, really, isn't it?
There's a lot of political unrest, shall we say, in Portugal, where, parts get stolen and stuff without going too far into it. You'd have to look at, what do I want to say here without being...
Be very careful.
Yeah. We're live on stream, mate.
we're all like Switzerland, but we're all neutral.
The feasibility of taking the equipment to Portugal and the cost and risk, just like they do in every other circuit. all I'm going to say.
I think it will stay. Testing will stay where it is, but that may come off the calendar.
Do you think that'll be the end of?
I think that'll be the test track because a lot of teams said they're happy with it being happy that it's a test track, and so drivers. So I reckon that will stay as a test track, and then it'll probably come off the calendar.
Mind you, it did snow this year, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it did snow this year,
2
didn't
days.
it?
Maybe what they should do is, if it's going to be out next year, come to do Silverstone instead. With our climate change, it'd probably be 30 degrees out there. They'd be fine.
What about Malaysia? Might be a bit far to fly out.
Too expensive, though, isn't it? It's too expensive.
Yeah.
They're trying to cut costs, not for the teams. Which is why they go to Spain.
Yeah.
Because Toro Rosso, Ferrari, and Alfa Romeo can just sort of drive from Italy and Switzerland.
Well, they'll all drive, don't they?
Yeah.
It's a really hard decision, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because the test track has got to be representative of something. Otherwise, there's no point testing.
Yeah, it's got to have corners that represent corners on tracks.
And okay,
it
would be great if there was no testing because nobody would know what's going on. But
that'd be perfect for us, wouldn't it?
But it's also
it'd give us racing away in Germany because nobody knew what was going to happen. No teams had data, so they didn't know what was going to happen.
The thing is, though, you got all these Grade 1 circuits, and there's a load around Europe. And that's the
okay. Is there any sort of close to UK and Switzerland and Italy? So I'd say probably Germany,
Manicourt.
Yeah.
You got Nürburgring.
No.
They won't go there, will they?
Like I said, we got those other circuits in Spain: the Ricardo Tormo, the Jerez one, the Moto de Aragon. You got the circuits and Vort, which is what's going to come in.
Yeah. So we'll be going there then.
You've got, what else have you got? Let's see. Having a quick look through the list.
Have we got Vietnam next year as well?
Yes, we have.
I'm looking forward to that, actually. I think the atmosphere, even if the track's a bit pants, will be a race.
You got the Mugello circuit in Italy. One more. I'll get this up on screen again.
We need to go somewhere where there isn't another race, though. If you're going to start adding stuff.
That's why I think it'll stay where it is.
Yeah.
And then
that's the Mugello circuit.
The problem is that they've brought in Xander Vort for next year, and a lot of people saying he won't be able to take on it next year.
Yeah, but a lot of people say you can't overtake in Austria, and look what that brought up. Some good racing there.
That's more like the altitude, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like Max and Charles not technically using the track. Not to say it's wrong, but that wasn't on track to overtake, was it? Either way you look at it. I don't know.
Tough one to call.
I think it'll still be where it is.
Yeah.
Maybe they should just let the teams choose.
They'll never decide on something between a lot of them.
Whichever track gets the most votes, they go there. Sorted.
But I can guarantee you now there'll be 10 votes for 10 different tracks.
Yeah.
Because they're all
teams saying, right, I'll give you your team this, that, and the other if you give me your vote.
Let them do it. At least we'd end up somewhere different.
But do they want to go somewhere different? That's the question.
But if they want Barcelona, they pick Barcelona, don't they?
Yeah, I think that's what they've been saying in the past, isn't it? They'll just stick with Barcelona. Obviously, if it comes off a calendar, it's pointless, but
I suppose at the end we're going to end up with the race per season like the European race, where we just pick a different country each year to go to, perhaps.
That wouldn't be a bad thing, though, would it?
Again, it depends what the teams want to do, but at least you'd be spread on about a bit. Because then a country's only got to come up with 1 year's funding. And then you could have one in like a really, crazy place. say the Pope wanted to see some F1, shove some money down for the Vatican, racing right there. That's what it'd be like, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
With money for 1 year, you could see racing somewhere completely new.
That's true. So, let's have the other thing that came up from that news article was the fact that they weren't going to increase the number of parts. But I think we had a discussion about this during the race in part one when we were talking about the fact that parts. We need to increase the amount of parts in order to stop these silly penalties and to actually encourage racing.
I think even Claire Williams agreed there needed to be parts, and in their financial situation, that tells you something.
I think it needs to be 4, not 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Agree.
Especially if you're going to go to 22, then you definitely need to go to 4.
Yeah. Well, like I said, if they're having to nurse the engine, you're not going to see good racing because they're protecting the engine.
Devaluing the sport.
You can guarantee Ricardo's going to have to take a penalty. That's a guarantee. And there'll be other teams up and down that grid that'll have to take penalties.
Well, say like Hamilton in Silverstone, that engine got so much potential and he only did a fast lap on the last lap. If Hamilton had been pushing that speed for the whole race, can you imagine how intense that would have been? It'd have been a spectacle. But because he's got to look after his engine, 1 lap of full racing, if you want to look at it like that. Is that really what we've come to see? 1 lap of full potential and qualifying? We need more engines.
We do.
We need more engine manufacturers as well.
We do.
They won't come in until costs reduce, though. That's the thing.
And the problem is they charge so much for the bloody engines in the first place.
Yeah.
And can they control how much each team's charged for an engine? Probably not.
And again, if you're going to put a budget cap on things and a new engine, is it fair that they're on the same budget cap when Mercedes had no budget cap, developed theirs up stage?
Yeah.
You'd like to think that if anybody was going to come in, they've already done 2 or 3 years, and they've got a half-decent engine if they were going to come in.
And like I said, engine manufacturers need more of a budget because they're developing the engine to do.
Yeah.
It's so complicated the way they've set it up.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bernie.
Yep. Get those waters out on the curbs. That's what he wants to see.
So let's talk about something else. Something a little bit light-hearted, if I'm honest. Before we move on to Hungary, we've got a few minutes. Superstitions. So the obviously we went into this Grand Prix and we had Mercedes having probably their worst weekend definitely the worst weekend in the turbo hybrid era. Oh, hello, Sleepwalk. Thank you very much for the follow. That was perfect timing. But Superstitions, you got. They blamed Toto Wolff was like, oh, because we got the costumes, it was because of that, because we were a bit more lax and everything like that. But what superstitions are there around Formula One at the minute? Drivers all have their own superstitions. The one that I remember is Alonso always had to get in a certain side of the car. What other superstitions that do we think work or have been dropped because of bad luck? Do we know of any off the top of our heads? This could be a very short-lived subject, by the way. This could be 1 minute, and then we're moving on to Hungary.
I think I know 2.
Go on.
Lando Norris high-fives his whole team before he gets in the car.
Nice.
And will wait for the high-fives before he gets in. And I think Vettel puts something in his shoelaces before he races.
Does he?
Yeah, you'll see him tie up his shoe, and I think it's like a penny or something, or a coin.
Ooh.
I've got one about Michael Schumacher. If you want to hear it, he liked to actually say he didn't mind showing his superstitions on Lucky Charms. In fact, he is known for always keeping a toy hairbrush he received by his daughter by his side.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
That's really nice. That.
Yeah.
Mook?
I think I don't know if it's a superstition, but I know some photographers try and get a picture of Hamilton when he's going to put his helmet on, but he always turns his back to them before he puts it on in the garage. I think that's before qualifying. He never puts it on facing anyone. I don't know whether that's a superstition or just a habit he's just developed.
Personally,
Sergio,
I always have to wear my Mercedes cap if there's a race. Even if I'm not watching it live, I have to wear something Mercedes. That's my yeah.
Okay.
thing.
Sergio Perez, he has a picture of the late Pope John Paul II on the inside of his cockpit
Really?
after he met him. After he met him, yeah.
Oh, let me Google that.
In contrast, former teammate Hulkenberg used to have an image of a mega quiffed cartoon hero, Johnny Bravo, taped to the inside of his cockpit. But we think that may be possibly a mechanic.
Doesn't Ricardo not like talk to anybody once he's finished listening to music? Well, I think that's the thing.
I think so.
Yeah.
Get that up. There we go. That's the picture of the Pope.
He puts Sebastian Vettel puts 2 bits of silver in his shoes.
There we go. I knew it was something.
Looking silver, yeah. And Michael Schumacher was also a big fan of odd numbers.
Odd numbers.
Odd numbers, yeah.
Right. What years did he win his championships? 94, wasn't it? 94 was his first one.
Oh, I know Lewis never chooses to use number 1 either.
Yeah.
He uses a superstition. He
Yeah.
put it on last year, and he had a tension, so never wore it again. He's always been 44.
Hang on. What about the year that he won the... Obviously, the year he won the championship, he ended up being number 2. He went to number 2, didn't he? He's the only driver that I know has a sequence of numbers when it was the old school system of where you finished in the championship and where you finished in your team. He went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in successive years. Did you know that one?
Nope.
Alex Wirtz wore different coloured racing boots.
I'm sure Button had one. I can't remember all it.
I think his was getting in one side of the car.
Yeah, it was.
Adrian Sutil had one as well. So Adrian Sutil, he liked to he would then put on his right boot and right glove first, then he would step into the car from the right hand side.
Right. Wow. So there are a lot of superstitions about. I mean, obviously we've heard yours, Will. If you had a superstition, Emma, what would you say?
I usually wear something Ricardo based during an F1 weekend at some point. I don't pick a particular day, but I usually have something, either me cap or a t-shirt or something. But it's not really a suspicion, really.
Okay. Henry?
I don't have one, to be honest.
I used to have one, but it wasn't Formula 1 related. It was five-side football related, because I used to be a goalkeeper for quite a long time in the five-side league. And I always used to get my gloves and just blow inside them every time. Nothing wrong with the gloves. I just always used to blow left and right glove, give them a quick blow, and then just put them on. And that was my superstition, ready for a match. I must have done it in karting. I don't know. It's weird what superstitions can do, isn't it? It's weird how you keep going with them.
I think it just turns into habit.
Michael Patterson, I love that. I do love that comment, Michael
Go on,
Patterson.
what's he said?
He said there's a superstition at Haas where Grosjean and Magnussen have to hit each other during the race.
Oh, brilliant.
I love the tap.
Let's move on to Hungary. We are starting to run out of time. Let's talk about Hungary. I haven't watched much of it because I have been fully flat out working because of kids' holidays. So, Will, let's start with you because you're normally up to speed with things. What's been happening in? We'll start with free practice. Any highlights from free practice?
Album went off in free practice 2, which in conditions he went off at the best times and nobody really ran in free practice 2. Hamilton dominated free practice 1, I think. Well, not dominated, but he was ahead, and I didn't see free practice 3, but I think that was limited running due to weather as well.
Right.
I think that was it. Henry? Emma?
No, I think that's right, really.
Yeah. The weather dominated it all, really.
And then it said something about snowy qualifying, something to do with an oil slick left by F2, was it?
Yeah, his engine blew up, didn't they?
Oh, hang on. We've had a message from Lord Teamaker who says David wear lucky underpants.
Well, David Coulthard like underpants.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And then he got a crash, didn't he? And they had to cut off his racing suit.
Yeah.
And it revealed his very worn underpants.
Well, he's Scottish.
What have you got against Scottish?
Stingy.
There you go.
Don't say that to
Lack
my
of
mum.
fruit in the diet.
Don't say that to my mum.
I'm not planning on meeting your mom.
I'll get on the stream going, see you. So let's.
What, in a string vest?
She's not Ramsey Nesbitt. She's not Ramsey
Dear
Nesbitt.
me, Tracker.
I don't know what's going on anymore.
We're talking about qualifying now. Let's talk about qualifying.
Okay, qualifying.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Free practice. Well, qualifying 1. Kubica was last, of course. Stroll was next, I think, because he was impeded by Grosjean.
Yeah.
This is who was above him? I think it was
Ricardo was 18th, funny, I think. Ricardo 18th, 19th, something like that.
he blamed traffic, and then it was Russell.
They showed you his onboard from Ricardo, and he tried to go around the outside of Perez, didn't he, to sort of get on with it. And then Perez sort of cut him off, come out the corner, so he just backed off. And it ruined his lap and Perez. It ruined his lap.
A good window, didn't they?
He ruined his lap and Perez's lap.
What about Leclerc? Penultimate
That
corner.
was
Or final corner, sorry.
that was free practice. Was it?
No,
Was that-
he clipped he spun.
Q1,
It was
Q1, wasn't it?
Q1.
Q1.
Yeah, that was Q1.
I thought it
Q1.
was Q2. Yeah,
Last corner, the last corner.
I laughed quite a lot.
Yeah, I've got the picture on the screen of him about to hit the barriers.
How lucky was he to once again booted out of qualifying at Q2? Stupidly just doing too much.
And we've got, I mean, for pole position, we got obviously Verstappen is now takes his first ever pole position, isn't it?
It's his first pole. It's the 100th different person to get a pole. And Heikki Kovalainen was the last when Heikki Kovalainen won it here. He was the 100th different driver to win a race.
Wow.
Isn't he the first Dutch driver to have a pole?
Yes.
And the first pole for Red Bull since Mexico last year?
I believe so.
It's the first pole for Honda since 2006.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which was Jenson Button?
Yeah. Yeah.
they've only had
And
3 poles so far. Well, up until that point this season, wasn't it? This millennium/decade. Yeah.
04, 05 and 06 for
That was
Honda,
it.
wasn't it?
And it was all button. Was it all button? Or
Oh, button, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
believe
Button.
Vettel was the last person to get a Red Bull pole position at Hungary in 2012. I think that was on the coverage. So there's all your stats for you
There you go. You see, we are professional. We bring the stats to you.
Yeah, and
We
here's
don't remember them fully properly, but they're there.
so as it appears on the screen, these are your top 10 for top 10. I don't think this.
I should say that Giovinazzi got a penalty.
Yes, he did.
He's got a penalty. Giovinazzi got a penalty. Sorry, I should have mentioned it.
What's
He
his?
got a free place group penalty for blocking Stroll.
Which puts Russ.
He puts him 17th. Puts Giovinazzi 17th, so he's still going to start like 2 places ahead of Stroll anyway.
Yeah, so this is your top. This is the grid for tomorrow as it stands. So Verstappen, Bottas in third. Verstappen,
second.
Bottas, and Hamilton first, second, third. Leclerc and Vettel fourth and fifth, with Gasly in sixth. Norris and Sainz lock out row 4 with McLaren in 7th and 8th. Grosjean and Raikkonen are 9th and 10th. Hulkenberg for Renault in their high start in 11th, with Albon in 12th. Kvyat after the success of last week in 13th. Magnussen down in 14th. Then Russell starts in 15th position. Great result for Williams. With Perez in the Racing Point in 16th. Giovinazzi, because that grid penalty, dropped down to 17th. Ricciardo in 18th. Stroll back in 19th position. Here comes his run of Q1s again. And Kubica all the way back in 20th position. So
Stroll to get points then, yeah? If you put him in on that?
To be fair, he's having better races than qualifying.
Yeah.
nothing.
10.
That's where the points are.
Yeah.
And that's where the point is, yeah.
Nothing's impossible, eh? So here we go. So that's what's going to happen. So it's going to be a good race tomorrow. Obviously, the race is on at 2:10 start. Is it 2:10? I think it's 2:10 UK time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On whatever platform. So on whatever platform you watch it on. We are going to look at the final part of the podcast, which is the predictions. And I've got 2 weeks to update. So let me just bring up the card. So to start with, we're going back to after 9 rounds, and it's been a big change in the midfield battle. So Will is still out in front with 53 points. That's the biggest score. Henry has jumped up to second with 40 points.
Come on.
Nice work, Henry.
Thank you.
I am third with 39. Jay is fourth with 38.5, and Lard is fifth with 33.3. So it's all midfield we are catching you, Will. But if I delete that card, this is what's happened after round 10, because last week the person
Any of us score points.
we all scored at least 1 point, except for Jay, who scored 2.5. So that means this is what happens to the scores. Will's in the lead with 55. Yeah. Henry and Jay are joint second with 41. I am fourth with 40, and Lard is fifth with 34.5. That is how we're looking as we go into Hungary. So so let's go through predictions. So let's start with Will today, because why not? Oh, before we do it, anyone watching for the first time, this is how it works. Scores. 4 points for first place, 3 points for second, 2 points for third. If you get any of those, the top 3 in any of a different order, it's 1 point for each. 1 point for best of the rest, 1.5 points for fastest lap, and 1 point for idiot of the week. Thank you, Michael Patterson. Hello, Yasser. Will, what do we think?
Got anything else to say?
Sorry?
Never mind. I'm deducting you half a point.
What?
I've got Hamilton for first place.
Yeah.
Verstappen for second place.
Yeah.
Vettel for third place.
Yeah.
Best of the rest. Come on, Norris. Come on. You're not going to have a mechanical fail. I have faith. Idiot of the Week's a hard one to call. Nobody's shown any signs of idiocy apart from her. So I'm probably going to go for Leclerc, to be fair.
Okay.
Bad race for Ferrari.
Fastest lap.
Fastest lap. Tough. Probably Bottas if he's not on the podium. He'll probably have a free.
Okay. Henry?
I will go with Verstappen to win it,
Yeah.
Hamilton second, and Bottas third.
Yeah.
Best of the rest, I'm going to go with Carlos Sainz.
Yeah.
Fastest lap, I will say Vettel.
Yeah.
Idiot of the week. I'm going to say Magnussen or Grosjean because it's going to be one of those two. They're going to touch again, aren't they, this week?
You're going for the half
Haas.
point sacrifice. Haas.
Yes, I am. I'm just going to say Haas.
You're going to say Haas all
Sorry,
the way through to
Haas.
the end of the
Haas,
season.
I'm sorry. Haas, I'm sorry, Haas, but it's just the form you're in.
Yeah, if you come on and do an interview, we'll
If you-
sing
yeah.
all your praises. Yeah.
Yeah, I've sung your faces, but this week, I'm sorry.
Hashtag sponsored by Haas Energy.
I am going to
dear.
go for, but actually, yeah, I'll say all I'm going to go for, and then I'm going to go through who Lard and Jay have gone for as well. So I'm going for a Verstappen win, Hamilton second, Vettel third, Norris best of the rest, Verstappen with the fastest lap, and I'm going to go for Gasly as idiot of the week.
No, we're about Gasly's going to win it. Gasly, if you're listening, that's your advertising there, Gasly. Don't let me down, son.
Sponsored by Red Bull Gasly. Now we're going to look at Jay and Lard. Jay has Hamilton first, Verstappen second, Bottas third, Danny Rick is best of the rest. Vettel,
That'll be a good race for him, won't it?
Yeah.
Vettel is fastest lap, and Leclerc as idiot of the week. And Lard has gone with Hamilton first, Verstappen second, Bottas third, Norris for best of the rest, Verstappen with fastest lap, and Grosjean with idiot of the week. Emma, I'm going to have to invite you to join this. Probably go on season 2, I'm afraid, because you're behind. If you would like to join it in the future. She's played silent treatment. That could be a. Well, let me think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, you could do some predictions.
Wait
So-
for your clock to stop.
Yeah.
Just go. Otherwise, we'll be here all night.
She did say clock. She did say clock.
I know. Every time.
I think we'll have Hamilton's pole, Hamilton for the win, Verstappen second, Bottas third.
Yeah.
Best of the rest, Lando Norris.
Yeah.
Fastest lap, Verstappen.
Yeah.
And idiot will be Grosjean.
Right. Does everybody on here think it's fair to give Emma a 30-point buffer zone so she can catch up? And we'll play it from there.
Yeah.
Yeah? Will?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You're in. I'll put you on the list for next week, Emma. Okay.
Yay!
So that's the end of the podcast. Guys, thank you very much for joining me. Emma, very special thanks for joining me. Hope we can have you back on in the future as well.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
More than welcome. Just to wrap up, you can find us on Twitter at Turn 1 Podcast. You can find us on Facebook with the Turn 1 Podcast page. You can also find us somewhere else that I've forgotten. But you can mainly email podcastturn1 at gmail.com if you want more information, because I really can't remember at this time, and I still haven't got around to making a slide to help me promote where everything is. We are on iTunes. If you go to the podcast, or you'll search for Turn 1 Podcast, you'll find the latest 3 episodes available there, and we do have a website coming up as well. So from me and the guys, we're going to say thank you ever so much. We've been really, really like that. Enjoy the Hungarian Grand Prix, guys, tomorrow, and we'll see you next time round. Take care. Bye-bye.